From the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Good morning, I'm Phil Mateer.
And I'm Melissa Caen. All lanes of Highway 17 are back open this morning after a deadly car crash. CHP says a vehicle went off a cliff in Santa Clara County just after midnight. One witness saw it happen and rushed to save the people inside.
The car just lose control, flip, go down the hill, and then it just hit a couple branches and it just like kept going and then stopped. And I was like, should I go down there? I was like, should I? Should I cross the street? The cars were coming fast. I was like, should I go? I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. So I started crossing and like I see the light. I see the light just like turned on and like didn't turn off or anything. Ladies are like, help, help. So I go down there. I was like, lady, I'm right here.
Now, one occupant was pronounced dead on the scene, and that second person was taken to the hospital. It's unclear what caused the crash. And a small Bay Area plane has crashed near the path of the eclipse in Oregon. The plane took off from the the San Carlos airport yesterday morning and crashed in Madras, Oregon. It's an area about 100 miles southeast of Portland. It's a prime viewing spot for tomorrow's solar eclipse. The pilot and the only passenger were killed. The plane crashed less than a mile from the airport, and initial reports indicate the passenger was headed there to watch the eclipse. Witnesses say the plane was in trouble right before it crashed.
I heard the plane coming in and I heard it sputtering some, which is not uncommon. We hear it quite often. So I didn't really think much about it. And then a few seconds later, I could hear it. I heard the impact, which was just kind of like a...
Records show that the owner of the plane is from Menlo Park. The tail number of the plane indicates it was a 2002 Wheeler Express, a home-built plane that has a 300 horsepower engine.
Specifications that the FAA dictates the airplane must maintain to the airworthiness qualifications. And those airworthiness qualifications will be the same whether they are for a regular manufactured airplane or home-built airplane.
The names of the two people killed in that crash are not being released yet. The NTSB and the FAA are investigating.
A mass this morning, the Archbishop of Barcelona called for Spain to unite and work for a more peaceful world. This comes days after two deadly vehicle attacks where ISIS has claimed responsibility. Families of the victims, as well as Spain's royals and top officials, were in attendance. 4 days later, and the suspected ringleader of those attacks is still on the loose. 14 people were killed when a van tore through the crowds along Barcelona's Las Ramblas, including a Bay Area man, Jared Tucker from Lafayette, who was celebrating his first wedding anniversary with his wife. Now the family is trying to cope with their loss.
And conservative writer Milo was in the Bay Area this weekend talking about his plan to return to UC Berkeley. Yiannopoulos says he's holding a free speech week on campus. It's a 4-day event on Sproul Plaza from September 24th to the 27th. About 6 months ago, he came to Cal to speak at the invitation of college Republicans, but riots broke out on campus, prompting administrators to call off the talk on short notice. He says the upcoming event will cover a wide ideological spectrum.
We are going to bring all the people that, leftist campus censors hate the most, but we're also extending invitations to liberals too. We want debates on stage. We want battles of ideas. We want to, really have a live demonstration of the value of classical liberalism, of the open marketplace of ideas.
He says he fully expects protests, but he's urging nonviolence on all sides.
Was he fired? Did he resign, or was he forced out? Whatever the case, the fate of an employee at a hot dog stand a couple of blocks from Berkeley's campus is raising questions about First Amendment protections. Cole White, a cook at the Top Dog store, was identified in social media as one of the white nationalists during the protests in Charlottesville last week. Within hours of the rally, Top Dog had posted a sign at their locations saying that he no longer worked there. But according to Hastings Law Professor David Levine, White was well within his rights.
Political activity is protected. If it's in your own time, if you haven't walked off the job or something like that, that is specifically protected under the California Labor Code.
In a statement, Top Dog denied that White had been fired, saying that he voluntarily resigned. It's interesting. Melissa, this is really quick on this. How clear is the law, your protections between work and your private life?
It's a very, very old statute he's referring to, and it actually says that employers can't have policies that prohibit certain political activity. It's not clear whether one firing constitutes a policy. One court has said no. That's kind of debatable. It also says you can't pressure an employee to leave or threaten to fire them over their political activity, but it's not clear here if that happened. That's probably something that the courts will have to decide, but not a black and white issue for sure. Dallas yesterday, thousands of people rallied calling for Confederate monuments to be removed. And in Boston, conservative activists gathered for a free speech rally, but they were outnumbered by counter-protesters. 33 people were arrested, but the demonstration was mostly peaceful, a dramatic contrast to the violence in Charlottesville. Police kept both sides separated, and they limited the event to just 2 hours.
I accept free speech, but that's not free speech, that's hate speech.
99.9% of the people here were for the right reason, and that's to fight bigotry and hate.
Estimated 40,000 people showed up for the protest. After the event ended, President Trump tweeted, "Looks like many anti-police agitators in Boston. Police are looking tough and smart." Later, he added, "Sometimes you need protest in order to heal, and we will heal and be stronger than ever before." He also wrote, "I want to applaud the many protesters in Boston who are speaking out against bigotry and hate. Our country will soon come together as one."
And here in the Bay Area, free speech and conservative groups are planning a couple of protests next week as well. A group called Patriot Prayer is planning an event on Saturday at Crissy Field in San Francisco. And the following day in Berkeley, a different group is planning a rally called No to Marxism in America at that town civic center park. Both rallies are expected to attract many counter-protesters as well. There's an added complication in San Francisco. A militia group confirms it's also coming to town. They're called the Oath Keepers, and they're made up of ex-military and law enforcement officers, and they're known for being armed. And they say they will try to keep the peace at potentially violent events.
And CBS News will deliver a full day of coast-to-coast coverage tomorrow. It all kicks off with a 2-hour special report starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time.